Okay, so I'm sure we are all kind of over talking about the riverboat brawl, the Alabama Sweet Tea Party, the Riverboat Rebellion, the Fade in the Water. I'm sure we're tired of kind of talking about it. I think we've analyzed it from just about every angle possible. There have been memes, there have been reenactments, there have been skits, there have been artistic renderings of the situation and various people involved and all that kind of stuff. But one thing I really don't see or hear about a lot is the involvement and the role that the Black women played in handling that situation. So first and foremost, Black women played a very significant role from the beginning of that situation all the way up until the end. And I want to kind of break that down because when you really think about it, we are just some impressive people, okay? And all these stereotypes and all this, Black women don't hold their men down. Like, Black women held it down, okay? They were organized. They handled a lot of things without there having to be a whole lot of conversation, without having to be told to do anything. And I'm gonna dig into it. But first and foremost, I want to talk about the white women. Okay, and I want to highlight the difference between how you saw the Black women handle the situation and how the white women handled that situation, and everywhere that they went wrong. Okay, number one, every last one of them were complicit in that assault, that initial assault. Because first and foremost, any one of you could have moved that boat out the way. If all it took was untying it and pushing it over to the side, any one of y'all could have moved the boat out the way so that the riverboat could have docked. So people kind of are kind of like arguing that, well, they tried to pull them off initially, and that's not even all the way true. But they were all complicit because any one of them could have moved that boat to the side without the security guard having to get off the riverboat and do it himself. Okay, so that's number one. Then number two, there was quite a bit of conversation and arguing before the first punch was thrown, before the hat was thrown in the air. There was a lot of talk, there was a lot of conversation, and you saw the women, the white women, kind of just like passively moving in and out. Like, you saw them and they were clearly like listening, and nobody was close enough to get the actual conversation. Nobody that was recording anyway was close enough to get the actual conversation down, but likely they weren't really saying a whole lot to try to convince the men in their party to comply. It didn't look like it, so even if they did say, come on, just move the boat or whatever, it didn't look like they were in any more inclined to move than the men were. Okay. And I don't respect that, because Black women, we know how to de-escalate. Yeah, we could hype something up, but we also know how to de-escalate. And I know that whether it was myself, whether it was other Black women that I'm associated or acquainted with, if we're the wrong party, one of us is going to just go, you know what, let's just move it. Or give me the keys, I'll move it. You don't want to move it, you can stand over here and argue, but I'm going to move this boat. Feel me? That's the Black women. Then, once the first punch was thrown, they came over, and okay, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say they were trying to analyze what was happening and they weren't really sure what to do. One of those white women went over there and kicked that man once he was down on the ground. Kicked him in plain sight, and then it was the same woman trying to keep the man back from going after them once he got back up on his feet, and she's trying to push him back with her elbow, which says, you need to be glad he did not pick you up and throw you in the river. I mean, I would have. Anyway, so you didn't help de-escalate. You tried to pull them off when it was really too late to do so. And I really feel like that was kind of a CYA moment where you can look back later and say, well, I tried to pull them off. You're not going to pull off a grown man who's already incensed and already embroiled in a fight. You're not going to pull him off. He's not going to listen to you at that point. So, okay, fine. Here's what I feel they should have done. Like I said, one, they should have moved the boat. And if you weren't going to move the boat, don't try to pull them off once they're fighting. Get the boat ready to go, because consequences are coming. And this is where I think the laughing kind of stops, because you all thought that these men were going to get away with jumping this black man in public in front of all these witnesses, and there was going to be no consequences because you all were chilling. They had time to get away, and that's the part that got me. Y'all had time to get away, but the riverboat docked and y'all were still there chilling. They didn't start trying to pull away until they saw all these people coming for some consequences. Now it's time to go. No, it was time to go way before that. Okay? So you didn't have the foresight to assist. You didn't have the integrity to help de-escalate. So that's where kind of the white women went wrong. Let's talk about the black women, though. From the very beginning of the support, once it did start to come, the black women were accounted for, okay? From the very beginning, you saw them taking their shirts, taking their cell phones, putting them away, tucking them away, making sure that, you know, they were minimizing damage. Okay, they were minimizing any potential damage that they could, because they understood that they were not going to talk these men out of going to fight. They understood that they weren't trying to fight men. You never saw a black woman jumping, and I'll look again and y'all can correct me, maybe I missed an angle, but you never saw one of those black women jumping in the faces of the white men. But when the white women jumped in and started beating on their men, that's when they took action. Okay? So let's be clear. You know, one of the, most celebrated markers of being black, and particularly being black in America, is the ability to communicate non-verbally, right? Relying on those body language cues, your facial expressions, your facial cues. So it looked like chaos, but if you really are paying attention, it was very organized from the minute they all got off that riverboat. And the black women played such a crucial role in that. So number one, what they did was they cleared the way. So when their men were ready to work and the little white girls were jumping in trying to be a part of the chaos, they were like, nah, I got hands for you, sis. They're gonna handle their business among the men. Y'all do that. That's black women. That's support. You feel me? And then, of course, you had the recorders, you had the commentators, you had the encouragers. You heard black women, you heard the voices of black women all over that. And then when the cops did come, it was a black woman very clearly explaining who were the aggressors, who were the instigators. This is who you need to get. That one, you leave him alone because he was the victim. I mean, they were very, very clear and very present from the beginning to the end. So anytime somebody tries to tell you that black women don't know how to keep it together, black women don't know how to support, don't know how to be there for you, understand that black women held their men down in several ways, not just in throwing hands, but in documenting, in reporting, in encouraging, in supporting. They handled that. And I salute you.